Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Paul DiBenedetto on the line, and he's Senior VP over at Hub International. Paul, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So I'm excited to get into what you're doing over at Hub International. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in your career?
Yeah, so it's been a pretty unique journey to start. So originally out of college, I was a VP for a commercial real estate firm. And as the market was crashing in 07, 08, I made a shift into the restaurant hospitality space. So I was a franchisee, owner-operator for Tilted Kilt Pub and Eatery brand, an area developer before they started to exit out of that brand in about 2016. So never really started in the insurance space, which is what Hub International is, but I was the managing partner for roughly 8 locations and 30 franchisees across 8 states. So would get these restaurants open and handle everything from A to Z, from, meeting with municipalities and getting them licensing to trainings to, post-operational things and monthly checkups. So not really in the insurance space at that time. And while that was going on, I also started a beverage consulting firm called Mind Meld Partners, where we would specialize in menu design, happy hour placements, third-party negotiations with large national franchises and large operators across the U.S. So we would basically help them with their liquor negotiations. So if Miller Lite wanted to be on a menu, we'd help them get in a menu on every location. So I did that for about 12 years. Before I broke into the insurance world, which was completely by accident.
Wow, what a great story. I'm like, well, because you have, a couple pivots in there, and obviously this gives you a huge amount of, I just mean you have a lot of experience. So you've owned restaurants, or you've owned businesses, you've worked for big companies, you've done some, helped them launch. What kind of, there's some younger listeners listening right now that maybe they're just getting started and they're just getting out of school. Maybe they're a couple years out and they're thinking about their first venture as an entrepreneur. What kind of advice would you give to that newbie that's out there listening to this right now?
A couple pieces I would say that really helped me get through it, because I owned my first restaurant at about 24 years old. Just really be ready to grind and always be learning. Really take what you can learn from your mentors and find good people to help guide you, through your decisions as a business owner, and, try not to take things personally along the way, and then, you'll have success then. If you take stuff too personal in business early on in your careers, it's usually the demise for that career.
Man, that's great advice, and I tell you, even you just saying you were in the first restaurant in the early 20s, I'm like, I cringe, like, oh my gosh, that's some grinding. That is some work, Paul. I don't have to tell you.
No, it was a lot of work. I think my biggest year, I put about 90,000 miles on one of my company cars at the time, just from opening restaurants. So it was to talk about a grind and going out there and 80, 90-hour weeks. It was a pretty regular thing for a long time.
Oh man, well, I think that's a great transition. Let's get into what you're doing over at Hub International. So first, tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Yeah, so Hub International, we are the 5th largest commercial brokerage firm in the world. We specialize in business insurance, employee benefits, risk management solutions, HR consulting, and a whole gamut of other things. We're about 450 offices, $2.5 billion company, and have really strong presence nationally in multiple verticals. So I got into the insurance world in about 2017. I was randomly recruited. I was getting out of the restaurant, and my wife was tired of me traveling. I got 3 kids at home that are young. So decided to make a career shift. And kind of how I got into insurance was I was always on the buyer side for all those years. So I really realized what I didn't like about the process of insurance, kind of how it was always price-based, and you get a phone call from 20 different guys saying, I'll save you 5%. We had a big claim that ended up not getting covered because we didn't have the proper insurance, and it kind of led me in there. So I got recruited to another company called the Horton Group early on out of my when I started in insurance for about 2 years before I took a promotion to Hub. So now I run our hospitality practice out of the Midwest. So Hub has been
and so obviously you're a restaurant guy. I mean, you know what you're doing in that space. Both obviously from the insuring side, it's a whole nother game and a whole nother level of expertise you have to insure that risk. Any type of trends you're noticing? So from your vantage point, of insuring these restaurants.
Yeah, I definitely would say the sophistication of the operator on the insurance side has become a lot greater over the last few years. You're seeing a lot of claims, whether it's, employee practice liability, which, that encompasses hiring, firing, sexual harassment, things along those lines. I think, even for myself, when I first was buying, an insurance buyer to where I was, I am today without being in insurance, it was quite the journey. And I think restaurant operators and big groups are realizing how important it is to be in the right insurance programs, and then also, have quality risk management, because it ultimately leads to a better bottom line for you and less risk for your operation. So I've definitely seen that trend shift quite a bit. And we're also starting to see restaurant groups really diving into the captive insurance space, which for anybody who doesn't know what that is, that's basically where you are self-insuring, either as an individual or as, with a group of other like-kind quality businesses. So those are two big trends I've definitely seen in the insurance space for sure in hospitality, is just the sophistication and really looking at strategy versus just having it be price-based.
Have you noticed any trends in or any difference in just this whole fintech, or should I say insurtech movement, and just upgrading the technology? Just because, I mean, even from I bet where you started to now, what's happening is probably like night and day. I know it's happening in a lot of other industries in terms of the finance side of things.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially on the employee benefits side and payroll management and HR management, I mean, there is new technology pieces coming out every day, and different systems are now talking to each other that didn't used to talk. So you've definitely seen a huge shift from technology for the better and the employee benefits side of the business. On the business insurance side, you're not seeing as many technological advances, other than you'll get some, app-based companies will give you a quick quote. But, the one thing I will say that's shifting is there's just a lot more access to data. So you can really nail down the risk and figure out what the best route is or what the best strategy is overall. But, yeah, technology is definitely a major role in the insurance game for sure.
No, that's exciting. Yeah, I get it, and I see it. And the employee benefits, just time systems talking to systems. I mean, it's kind of interesting to see how this evolves, and it just makes things more efficient, like long term, and to see what's next. So what's next for you, Paul? So Hub International 2020. Any goals? Anything upcoming about the company that you care to share?
I mean, Hub is growing every day. I think we got over 100 acquisitions lined up nationally, so we grow both organically and through mergers. And as far as the hospitality and franchise practice, we have a whole new franchise model kind of being launched nationally right now to really help franchisors and franchisees. And we've picked up a lot of big accounts since I've joined Hub, so it's been really good. It's something that's always evolving and exciting. And obviously, with my background being part of the hospitality space still, without having the problems of owning a restaurant, but being able to help consult and not having to be on the road has been a good thing. So we're very excited for 2020. That's
exciting. Fantastic. Yeah. So, Paul, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on Hub International or to connect them, what's the best way for them to get that?
Well, normally I would give you guys my email over this podcast, but it's my first name and last name, which is really long. So I'd say either look me up at LinkedIn or go to hubinternational.com, and you can find me under the Hub Midwest West office. My email is paul.dibenedetto@hubinternational.com. So that's a mouthful. So usually people mess that up. But yeah, I'm always open for. I had a lot of great mentors when I was owning my companies and getting into the business. So I'm always willing to take questions or help anybody, with anything that they need. So feel free to reach out anytime.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, hey, Paul, really appreciate you coming on the show today, sharing more about your background and all the great work you're doing over at Hub International to help your restaurateurs and franchises. So great stuff there. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, I'd love to hear some feedback on what you thought about it and what's going on in restaurants and insure tech or the restaurant side of technology. So definitely leave us some comments there. And Paul, thanks again for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.